Westerlies are a Seattle-born, New York-based brass quartet at the intersection of new music and progressive jazz. In their work, they combine the delicacy and precision of the concert hall, the breathless spontaneity of a midnight jam session, and the earthy grit of a backyard hoedown. With 3 albums and a viral hit under their belt, an NPR Tiny Desk concert, and hundreds of quartet appearances on tour, the Westerlies continue to grow their diverse fan base through collaborations with indie rock stars Fleet Foxes, Malian guitarist Vieux Farka-Touré, jazz trumpeter Dave Douglas, rising star singer-songwriter Haley Hendricks, best-selling authors Sarah and Phil Kay, as well as new music vocalist Theo Bleckman. In spite of their active schedule of collaborations, the core focus of the ensemble remains its quartet performances. Since their inception in 2011, the Westerlies have cultivated a vast new repertoire for their unique instrumentation.
The Westerlies have this amazing power and knack and talent for bringing music of many different places, many different origins, and bringing it together, which has the result, has the power actually to bring people together, because people relate to all of those musics differently. There's a lot of love in this band, and they will make your heart melt.
Hi there, Riley Mulherker here from the Westerlies, and thank you for joining us for this showcase. We hope you are safe and healthy wherever you are tuning in from, and we can't wait until we can all be in the same room together, enjoying the power of chamber music. We'd like to next share with you a highlight from our past year, which was our first ever commission, a world premiere composition by Mason Bynes, written to honor the life and legacy of Rosa Parks. This piece was conceived of in collaboration with the organization Clefworks, based in Montgomery, Alabama, in collaboration with the Rosa Parks Museum. And it was presented and supported by the Festival of New Trumpet Music with additional support from the Westerlies. We are so honored to bring this work into the canon of brass music to honor the life and legacy of Miss Parks. So please enjoy this excerpt of the piece, one that Miss Bynes describes as a musically expressed love letter to Miss Parks. When the pandemic hit, we had just released our third studio album entitled Wherein Lies the Good, and we were about halfway through our release tour. Then all of a sudden, it was March of 2020, and we, just like everyone else, were paralyzed. We were quarantined apart from each other, and we had no way of making music together. Thankfully, our trombonist Andy immediately got to work at finding a way for us to collaborate remotely and finding a way to bring our music to presenters and audiences across the country and around the globe.
I remember one specific moment when we all got on Zoom and tried to play at the same time, and it just freaks out and sounds like a chainsaw going through a tuba. We started experimenting with various different platforms and tools for remote collaboration. I've rigged up this crazy system where I can compensate for the latency created by the internet and make everyone sound in sync. So I remember very clearly the first time that it worked and everyone played together in real time and it sounded like the Westerlies. And it had been 3 or 4 months since we had actually been in the same room playing, and it was such an overwhelming emotional experience to feel that again and to feel that live energy with each other.
One of the most exciting things on the horizon for the Westerlies is the release of a new collaborative album with vocalist Theo Bleckman entitled This Land. The album was conceived of following the 2016 election and presents a collection of original compositions as well as arrangements and settings of voices of truth from past and present. including Brecht, Joni Mitchell, and Woody Guthrie. Please enjoy this sneak peek of an arrangement by Theo Bleckman of our upcoming single entitled Look for the Union Label.
Look for the union label when you are buying that coat, dress, or blouse. Remember somewhere our union sewing, our wages going to feed the kids, and run the house. We work hard, but who's complaining? Thanks to the ILG, we're paying our way. So always look for the union label. It says we're able to make it in the USA.
Nimble and acoustic, the Westerlies perform exclusively without sheet music, creating a boldly personal and captivating concert experience for their diverse audiences. The palpable, heartfelt connection and rock band mentality of the group stems from their childhood friendships going back to their middle school bandroom days in the Seattle public schools. This origin story has led to a deep commitment to education and community engagement work, reaching thousands of students across the country each season.
Thanks so much for tuning in to see the Westerlies. I'm going to turn it over to the band.
Hi, folks. My name's Willem DeCook, and I am a trombonist in the Westerlies. Happy to be here. Thank you for joining us today.
And I am Riley, and I play the trumpet in the Westerlies. And we're so happy to have some of you here. You know, this time is always one of our favorite times of year, where so many people from around the country that we all love come together. So we're really missing a lot of you right now, and it's wonderful to see some of you in the chat. You know, some familiar folks we know and love, and some folks that we wish we could have been meeting you right now in person. I mean, I'm just seeing, it's funny to see Auburn and talk about Alabama just because that piece written by Mason Bynes was really something we were looking forward to bringing down to Alabama this past year. But we have spent some wonderful time in Montgomery, but over there they're not so crazy about Auburn. You know, we learned what roll tide is and all that stuff. So maybe Amy, you'll have to convince us, let us know about how things are, because I'm sure we got a little biased opinion there.
So we're around. Feel free to put any questions in the chat, and we're happy to answer them. We'll hang out for a minute. There's plenty going on in the news, so I'm sure some of you are eager to be checking that. But we're glad you were able to join us for the showcase.
Hey, Liz at Utah Presents. Thank you so much. I don't know that you and I have met yet. I hope we can change that in the future in person someday. But thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you like what you saw and heard. And there's my friend Rob Richter. Great to see you. That you're here as well, Rob. Thanks so much for giving us the time.
And Rob, I see, New London, Connecticut. We years ago we had a wonderful show out on Fisher's Island, and got to spend a little time in New London and go on the ferry out there, which so close to New York City, but I'd never been out there. Just beautiful, beautiful. So it's nice to see some New London out here on the showcase channel.
I don't know if anyone, you saw the moment in the showcase where Andy was describing how the group really miraculously figured out how to perform live from remote locations in sync. Kind of a remarkable feat, and they had a terrific segment on All Things Considered not too long ago. You can check that out. It kind of talks about how they managed to do that and how it felt to get back into kind of the room in quotes together and playing together.
Yeah.
There's a question from Brooke. Can one of you guys take that?
Sure. Talking a little bit about our engagement work that we've done and what we'd like to do in the future. We all are a product of music education, and specifically music education in public schools. So wherever we go, we often, if there are any opportunities to get to schools during the day, if we have a concert that night, or if we can come a day early and engage with students or the broader community at large, it's something that we're really eager to do because we wouldn't be here if there weren't people spending their time doing that for us when we were coming up. So we've done a number of engagements that are actually educationally oriented. Some of our work in Alabama and Montgomery with Clefworks was really centered around getting into schools down there. And we also have a festival we run in Seattle called Westerlies Fest that prioritizes community engagement and education work. So it's always something we're eager to do. And sometimes that means master classes, sometimes that means assemblies. And then sometimes it takes shape in different ways that are really more organic and a better fit for whatever the specific community we're going to is. I know there's some other comments here, so I want to maybe toss it over to Willem.
Sure. Yeah, I can. Amy is asking about contextualizing our classical music for various audiences, but also wants to know more about our Appalachian influences. Yeah, you wouldn't think that the original four members, having grown up in Seattle, would have many Appalachian influences, but I think we many of our mentors growing up, and one in particular, a composer by the name of Wayne Horvitz, turned us on to a lot of music. People like Charles Ives in the classical tradition who would draw from American folk music traditions and put them into a classical or art music or concert hall context. And so that's always been of huge interest to us. And I can just remember being in college and when we were studying at conservatory, maybe because all of the music we were studying in class all day was complex music from the classical canon, I think we found a lot of comfort and solace in really simple folk music. So, listening to a lot of artists like Roscoe Holcomb and Doc Boggs and a lot of bluegrass music So I think inevitably that sort of started to find its way into our sound, and we've both consciously and maybe subconsciously incorporated a lot of those musical elements, whether it be folk melodies or harmonic or rhythmic language, and put it into a chamber music context. So we're always eager to explore those influences and bring them together in an interesting way.
I see a comment from Nicolette in Concord. I will certainly follow up with you about this, but the answer is yeah. The guys have plenty of both live material, virtual material that we can put together a concert for you. You know, I don't want to overstep my bounds, but maybe if possible, we can try to figure out one of the actual live real-time concerts that they've been producing over the course of the past several months.
Yeah, we have felt very lucky in the course of this pandemic to be able to work together in a safe way and to make our music and share it with audiences. So it's been one of the main ways we've been connecting with audiences over this time, and also working together with presenters to create specific programs for their own audiences, communities, subscribers, etc.
Any additional questions, comments from anybody? We're here. We don't want to take up too much of your time, of course, but please let us know. Otherwise, I think we may call it a wrap. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with us on this particular format and this very strange day in our history. But we're glad you were here. Spread the word. Hopefully we'll see you further down the road. Thanks very much again, and over and out.
Thank you so much for tuning in, y'all.
Thank you. I'll see you down in the lobby of the Hilton for a cup of coffee. Catch you soon.